Hello students, so today we start with our second lesson in political science, that is the electoral process. So in this chapter you will study about how elections are conducted in our country. Students, elections and representation is a very important, these are two important processes or ingredients of any democracy, right? Especially in India with a large population, and likewise in many other countries with a huge population, it is not possible for many or the population to directly participate in the functioning of the country and in the democracy. So in such cases, what is done is that people in a democracy elect their representatives, and their representatives who are elected, they take decisions on behalf of the people, and they take decisions for the welfare of the people and are also responsible and answerable to the people, right? So the process of elections is very important and vital to the functioning of democracy and for the strengthening of democracy. So in this lesson you will learn about how electoral process takes place. You will learn about the structure of the election commission and its functions. The election commission is a body set up under the provisions of the Indian Constitution. I am restricting my discussion to India's democracy, right? So the Election Commission is an autonomous body. That means it's independent, it takes its own decisions, right? It cannot be under the pressure from any government in rule. So it's an independent body set up under the provisions of the Indian Constitution. By the provisions of the Indian Constitution, the Election Commission has certain functions, right, which are very important to protect democracy and to see conducting free and fair elections is one of the most important function of the Election Commission, besides the many other functions that it has, because conduction of free and fair elections is very vital to safeguard democracy and strengthen democracy, right? So in this particular chapter we will learn the various functions of the election commission and how elections are conducted in the country, right? So I will start with the chapter right away. Please make a note of the important points that are being told by revisiting this lecture again. Not only this lecture, in future whatever lectures are taken on subjective issues like political science, you need to take a pen and a book and write down the important points that are being stressed during the lecture, so that it will help you in answering questions which may come from the middle of the text itself in the form of like give reasons or some other. Normally they stick to the exercise questions, but we must be ready, right? Now elections have played a very major role in the working of India's democracy. Elections and representation are two important processes in democracy. So you need to underline this point in your text when you get the physical copy. Elections and representation are two important processes in democracy, right? We know that people's representatives are elected through elections. So all this I have actually told you, so I will not waste too much of time on basically giving you the introduction. I will straight come to the discussion on the structure and function of the Election Commission. I have already given you an introduction of this lesson, so I will straight away talk to you about the Election Commission. In India, the Election Commission is central to the process of election. Please note this sentence. They will ask you in the form of fill in the blanks. In India, dash is central to the process of election. Process of election, right? So the election commission is central or very important to the process of elections. The election commission was set up as per Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. I told you that the Indian Constitution has quite many number of articles. So among them, the Article 324, please make note of it. The Article 324 of the Indian Constitution has established the autonomous body which consists of the Chief Election Commissioners and 2 other commissioners. That means the election commission at the national level is an autonomous body. Autonomous body means it is independent and it is not under the control of any power or government, right? It is free to take its decision without any pressure from the government, right? That's the meaning of autonomous body, a body that functions independently and more importantly freely and impartially, so that justice can be acquired during elections, right? So this election commission is basically headed by an election commissioner, and he is assisted by 2 other election commissioners, deputies, right? Now some box article is there which I need to tell you. Sukumar Sen was the first election commissioner after independence, right? After independence, Sukumar Sen was the first election commissioner. Please remember, the remaining things in that box you can read for your information, but you need to remember, right, that Sukumar Sen was the first election commissioner of India after independence, and his role was a very challenging role because he had to conduct free and fair elections in very adverse situations. India was not in a very good state immediately after the elections. You know, the country was divided on the basis of religion and so on. So he had to work under a lot of adverse conditions, and his task was a very challenging one, right? So you got some important points right now, that the election commission is central to the process of elections in the country. It was established as per the Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, and the first election commissioner of independent India was Sukumar Sen, right? Now the President appoints the election commissioners. This also is a point very important to note. The President elects or appoints he doesn't elect, he appoints the election commissioner. The Chief Election Commissioner cannot be removed from his post on account of any political reason, because it's an autonomous body. It does not have to be under pressure. If it is under pressure, then it won't be able to take impartial decisions, right? So the Chief Election Commissioner, who is appointed by the President, cannot be removed for any political reasons. This is necessary to preserve the independence of the election commission. I told you in the beginning, it's an autonomous body. It has to be independent and it has to be out of the control of any government power, right? So that it can function and carry on the elections without any fear, right? If it is pressurized, then the meaning of democracy diminishes, right? So the election commissioner has to have powers, and he has to function in a fearless atmosphere without any pressure from the government, so that free and fair elections can be conducted, right? So it can come as a give reason to you. Be aware of this. The election commissioner, once appointed by the President of India, cannot be removed for any political reason. The reason that he cannot be removed is that it is to preserve the independence of the election. It is to preserve the independence of the election commission, right? Now the election commission does have a separate staff. So they have their own staff, their own setup. Government officers, teachers and other employees help the election commissioner to conduct the process of elections. So you have seen normally when elections are there, certain teachers and government officers are deployed on election duty, right? Now, now you'll start coming to the functions of the election commission, but please remember that every year you must be seeing notices that there are campaigns to conduct awareness among voters, and there is always a run for what you call registering and getting people registered as a voter, right? Once you attain the age of 18, you should participate in voting. Not participating is as good as a crime, because what happens is your vote decides whether we are going to have a good government or not, right? So very important, once you become an adult and you have your right to vote as an adult citizen, you have to participate in the electoral process, right? Now, functions of the election commission is what I am coming to. So I will discuss the functions today and we will continue remaining. So there are quite a few functions. There are around 5 functions of the election commission. Now the first function of the election commission is to prepare the voters list. Keep in mind all, because you may be asked to write a note on the functions of the election commission. You don't only have to list the points one by one, you will have to add a few points to each one of them. Like for example, the first function of the election commission is to prepare the voters list, right? Now every Indian citizen who has completed 18 years of age has a right to vote, right? This is called universal adult franchise. It has been discussed in some of your lower classes before, right? To exercise the right to vote, a citizen's name must appear in the voters list. It is the responsibility of the election commission to prepare a list of eligible voters. Every year they carry out a campaign to register people as voters, right? So it is the responsibility of election commission to prepare a list of eligible voters and update the existing voters list and include the name of new voters. Every year citizens come of age. From 17 they attain the age of 18, the young population, so they have to be enlisted as voters. In short, the election commission has a role of preparing the list of eligible voters, regularly updating the list of the new voters, the people who have attained the age. Citizens who have attained the age of 18 have to be registered in the new voter list. The election commission has an authority to issue identity cards to voters, which you are supposed to carry with you whenever you visit a polling booth for elections. Now, why is it required? When candidates have only the condition of age as eligibility, why should they give other information to this? So these are some questions which we will take up at the review of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, when we review, we will discuss some box questions that are asked. Now the second function, the first function is to prepare a list of eligible voters. Then the next one is to decide the timetable and program of elections, right? The conduct of elections is entirely the responsibility of the election commission. So the election commissioner decides the dates on when to conduct election and in how many stages to hold elections in every state. Now even you must have witnessed the recent Lok Sabha elections. The elections are not throughout the country, cannot be conducted on a single day. So they'll have phase 1 conducted in so many states, phase 2 conducted in other states. So phase wise, in order to ensure smooth elections and free and fair elections, they conduct these elections. If it is at the national level, if it's the elections or general assembly elections, they are conducted across various states in the country phase wise, and if it's a state election, then in various districts as per, or various constituencies are selected, and phase wise they conduct even elections in the state. They don't go on a single day for conducting elections throughout the country, or even during the state elections throughout the state on a single day. So elections are conducted phase wise, but all this is decided by the election commission. If it's a state election or elections of the Vidhan Sabha, right, then what happens is the state election commission plays a very important role. If it's the general assembly elections or elections to the Lok Sabha, the election commission at the national level comes into play, and they play a very important role in deciding the entire process, the dates, the phases in which elections are to be conducted, etc. Then the third important function of the election commission is scrutiny of application of candidates who wish to contest the election. After the election dates are declared, every political party, the moment the election dates are declared, much in advance, before the elections are held, much in advance these election dates are declared. So once the election dates are declared, every political party, they select their candidates who have to contest the elections, right? They give them what they call tickets to contest the election. So some candidates contest the elections independently. That means there are some candidates who don't have the support of any political party. They stand as an independent candidate without the sponsorship or political support of any other party. They are independent candidates, right? So some candidates contest the elections independently, that is without the support of any political party, and candidates of political parties as well as independent candidates, they first have to fill in their applications. They call it filing nomination. In election terms, candidates have to file their nominations, where they have to declare a lot of information, including their record, because the election commission has to scrutinize the candidature of these people who wish to contest elections. They should not be having any criminal record, they should not have been convicted in any case, right? And they should be eligible to contest. There are a lot of terms and conditions which are set out. They have to declare their assets, how much money they have, property they have, so on and so forth. So there is a process of filing nominations, right? So candidates of political parties as well as independent candidates have to fill in applications which include information about their self, as I told you right now. The election commission scrutinizes means checks very closely all these applications, and then it permits in writing and allows eligible candidates to contest the elections. The next function of the election commission is to give recognition to political parties. Now, any Tom, Dick and Harry cannot come one day and say that I have a political party. You are able to form a political party only if you fulfill certain conditions. As you will learn in the next chapter, some parties get recognition as a national political party. Is that if they become a national political party, you will learn in the next lesson, if they are popular in all states or many states across the country, and if they enjoy the support of people across the country. Then there are some political parties which are categorized as regional political parties. That is, if they are popular only in a particular state or region, and if they are working for the welfare of the people in a particular region. Like for example, let us say, to give you an example, you will have, let's say, the Manse, the Maharashtra Now Nirman Sena, right? Though they are called a regional political party because as of now they don't enjoy popularity and support of the people throughout the country. They are more popular with the people of Maharashtra, and they are working for the welfare of the people in Maharashtra. So such parties are termed as regional political parties, and to give party a recognition, whether regional or political, it is the job of the election commission, right? Now, we have a multi-party system in our country. I hope you know what is the meaning of multi. We have many political parties. right? You can think of so many political parties in our country. We have a lot of political parties. You talk about China, right? So you have only the Communist People's Party. One party is there, so there is no question of free and fair elections. There is no contest itself over there, right? So here we have in our country a multi-party system. New parties continue to be formed, right? Now, split in the parties results in formation of new parties. Sometimes existing parties themselves split. Like the Congress party years ago had split into Congress I and Congress S, and so on and so forth. In fact, the Shiv Sena itself had split up into the Manse was a offspring from the Shiv Sena. See, it happens many a times. People within parties have different ideologies and different concepts. So they have a clash of opinions, and if they don't come to a consensus with one another, they part their ways and they form their own political parties. When you grow up, you will understand how many political parties have been formed by breaking away from some political parties, and that's a part of the process, right? Now, all political parties are required to get recognition by the State Election Commission. Election Commission has a right to de-recognize any political party if for some reasons they are not functioning or they are not enjoying the popularity of the people, so they get de-recognized by the Election Commission. The Election Commission also allots election symbols to political parties, right? You see the election symbols, the lotus, the train, and whatnot symbol, the hand, the panja, whatever they call it. All these symbols are basically allotted. You have to apply for a symbol. You can't just make your own symbol and start your elections. It has to get approved by the Election Commission, right? You know the symbol of the Aam Aadmi Party. If you don't know, just find out on the Google it. What is the symbol of the Aam Aadmi Party, right? So they have these symbols for different reasons, right? You find out if what is the symbol of the Aam Aadmi Party, right? Whose chief is Arvind Kejriwal, the current Chief Minister of Delhi. So find out what is their symbol and actually what that symbol implies to convey to the people, or what the symbol actually conveys. Sometimes certain symbols convey certain ideologies of a political party, right? So find out as an assignment. It's very interesting, right? Then the fifth function of the Election Commission is to resolve any disputes regarding elections, right? Sometimes there may be complaints of unfair practices during elections, maybe bribing the voters or giving the voters money and then seeking votes, or seeking votes on the basis of religion, right? It is not allowed in the country. So such things, making appeal to voters on the basis of religion, or maybe bribing the voters, giving them gifts, and then influencing them to vote for your political party. These are all malpractices which can happen, and they are checked by the Election Commission. They are kept in check. If at all any complaint is received, they take action, right? So the Election Commission has the responsibility of resolving any disputes regarding elections. Accordingly, they may declare a candidature or a candidate disqualified or conduct a re-election in a particular constituency. You know what's a constituency? There's every state is divided into small constituencies, and each constituency has their representative. Likewise, the country is also divided into more than 540 constituencies, and each constituency has their member of parliament, that is the MP, right? So what happens is sometimes certain disputes may arise. Some people may complain that while campaigning for the elections, so and so did this, so and so did that, so and so made an appeal on the basis of religion to seek votes. So the Election Commission will look into it. They will seek records. Maybe they will get concrete evidence about such complaints, and if they are satisfied that a malpractice has been done while conducting the elections or while campaigning, they will cancel the candidature of a person who has also been already elected. They will cancel it if he is found to have adopted unfair means to seek votes of the people from his constituency. So basically, students, these are the 5 important functions of the Election Commission. You have your PDF book or your physical copy of the book. Whatever I have explained, go through it once again and mark down the important points. I have kept on stressing, so please do that. Till then, students, stay safe. Thank you, take care, and we see during the next lecture.